Sahanavavatu Sahanau bhunaktu Sahaviryam karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. On the occasion of Ganesh Chaturthi, which is the festival we are celebrating, I thought we should say a few words. What Ganesha is, what it symbolizes. The word Ganesha is a combination of two words, Ganaha and Isha. Ganaha means multitude. Isha means the Lord. So the very word Ganesha means one who is the Lord of all beings. Ganesha is the son of Lord Shiva. Shiva symbolizes the supreme reality. So the son of the supreme reality symbolizes one who is a realized soul. So Lord Ganesha is one who has attained that state of God realization, self-realization, who has become one with God, which is in fact the goal of any aspirant, which is to get to that state of self-realization. Other names of Lord Ganesha, you can call him as the Vinayaka, Vigneshwara, which also means remover of all obstacles. So another reason why Ganesha is worshipped, to facilitate, to enable that there should be no obstacles in our life in general, spiritual journey in particular. So as we all know, Ganesha is a mystical form with a human body and an elephant head. In the mythology there is this character, human body with an elephant head. Now, as I have just said, Ganesha symbolizes the goal, but not only it is the goal, it is also the path to the goal. All these great men, whenever they communicate something, not only do they communicate of the goal, but they also gives you the means to get to the goal. Because it is of no use if you are not told how to get there. If I were to talk of a destination, but if I don't tell you how to get there, it's of no use to me. So when you look at Ganesha, Lord Ganesha, it not only describes as a man of realization, it also gives us the path to realization. So a few aspects, prominent aspects when you look at Lord Ganesha, what they mean. I'll give you a In fact, they are very, very symbolic. Means it symbolizes something. Symbolizes, symbolism means what? What does the symbolism mean? Sorry? Identity. When you say it's symbolic, what does it mean? It has got an important symbolic representation, means it is conveying far more than what it seems. It has a deeper meaning. It has something far more to convey than mere picturization or idealization. Even though we consider it as an idol, the God, but it represents far more than the idol. Okay? Now, very deeply philosophical, very, very philosophical. So the first of the few points, the elephant head, or Lord Ganesha, has got large ears and an elephant head, which is huge. So the large ears, what it symbolizes is Shravana, the capacity to receive knowledge. Now the problem is, when we have knowledge, the very knowledge we have becomes an impediment for receiving knowledge. Isn't it? When we know something, when we learn something, as I said, there comes a notion of knowing. And when the knowing comes in, it becomes an obstacle for further receiving. So, I do not know how many of you in this classroom are a very good listener. That's what the huge ears of Lord Ganesha means. You must be receptive to everyone. As Shakespeare says, lend me thy ears. In the Hamlet, he says, give every man thy ear, but few thy voice. Give every man thy ear, but few thy voice. Take each man's censure, reserve thy judgment. Take each man's censure, and you have the right to reserve your judgment. But first and foremost, you got to lend your ear. Give every man thy ear, but few thy voice. Means you don't have to. In fact, the more knowledge you have, the more quiet you become. As they say, don't they? Age-old saying, empty vessels make a lot of noise. When there is substantial wisdom, it is actually, you have to draw out knowledge. You don't go about making too much noise. I remember a scene which I'll narrate to you. There was a talk I had given in a company. I even remember the name of the company, Fenner India. The Fenner belts are very famous. And this happened more than 20 years ago, sir. And a company had sent one of their officers to receive me. And my dad and me both, in fact, he accompanied me for the talk. I was very young then, 20 years ago. So, that person who came along was actually conversing with my dad. And he is very sociable, he just opens up and strikes a discussion for the benefit of you all. Welcome. Being the occasion of Ganesh Chaturthi, I'm just giving an insight into what Lord Ganesha symbolizes. Is it audible there? Can you hear me clearly? Right. So I just started by saying Ganesha has got large ears and a huge head. So what does a large ear symbolize is the capacity to be receptive, to be able to receive knowledge. And I said, Shakespeare says you got to give every man thy ear. Every man. You're walking on the road or you're in a rickshaw, your rickshawala is giving some philosophy to you. Lend thy ear to him. Don't assume you know more than him. It may be true, but lend thy ear. Few thy voice. Take each man's censure, reserve thy judgment. That's what I said. And then I said a person with a lot of knowledge doesn't make too much noise. And I was narrating an episode. So all throughout the talk was in Begumpet, their office. It was a little drive. And all throughout my father was conversing, and then I was in the uniform. And when the time came for the talk, I went to the stage and I started lecturing, obviously. And after the talk, he thought my father was a speaker, I was accompanying him. Throughout that 1 hour, I didn't speak a word. I no doubt greeted him, but I kept quiet. I'm not suggesting anything here, but given a choice, I'll keep quiet most of the time. Given a choice. So what I'm trying to say is, this knowledge you will have to put in. You have to put in a lot of effort to draw it out. Please come and sit inside, no problem. That's okay, no problem. If she cries, then you can go out. No problem. Make the last 2 chairs available for them. Vijay, you all come forward. Sir, why don't you sit there? Easier for you all to go in case the baby needs attention. Make sure everybody is comfortable. So the large ears means you got to be receptive. The large head symbolizes one of the most important aspects of spiritual study or spiritual exercise is to reflect on the knowledge. Receiving knowledge is Shravana. The large head means he has the capacity to process it, he has the capacity to digest it and convert it into wisdom. As we have often mentioned, mere knowledge is of no use if you are not able to convert it into wisdom. It's like the food you eat. If the food is not digested by your system, it's of no use to you, isn't it? So when you have converted the knowledge into wisdom, then it translates into action. Then only you will be able to walk the talk. If you're not able to walk the talk, in fact, if you look at your own personality, there is a great disparity in what you know and what standards you live. Isn't it? There's a great disparity. Don't you see in others? So are others able to easily pick up in you. What you talk is not what you practice or live by. I may advocate discipline to you, but if I'm not adhering it myself, it's impossible to create a mark for myself. I have never ever been late to a classroom. If I talk of punctuality and discipline, isn't it necessary even in the retreat? Did you ever find me late on the stage? Krishnamurti garu? People are late. The students are late. I look at the time. 5:15, you got to start. Start, chalo. Even 2 fellows are there, I start. Everybody is rushing in. So what the head symbolizes is the capacity to process. And in the spiritual journey, it is 20% information, 80% reflection. This proportion you must have in mind. Means 20% knowledge, 80% you must reflect on those ideas. Now what's the proportion we are following? Perhaps the ulta. No, it is not something which has to be left to individuals. So I can't charter my own spiritual program. I'm only trying to convey what even Lord Ganesha is symbolizing. Where do you get wisdom is from reflection, not information. It is told, Shravana and then Manana. And once you do enough Manana, then you come to a state of Nididhyasana, which is meditation. So we got to be very clear what you're interested in is to make the knowledge your own. When we learn ideas from external people, it is their wisdom, it's our information. Somebody has personalized it their own. Somebody has made it their own, isn't it? So when I listen and receive the knowledge, it is their wisdom, but it's only information for me. So how do I make it my own? Exactly the same thing what they did. What did they do? No. Now having received the knowledge, what should we do? No, it is not possible to practice or live it until it has become a part of you. If there is an effort being put in to live the knowledge, that means it is not a part of you. If you are putting in tremendous effort to put in a performance of a piano, or you're playing a guitar, or any instrument, what does it mean? Tremendous effort you're putting in to put a performance. You have not perfected it, isn't it? But when the performance is effortless, what does it mean? It talks about the lot of effort, the sadhana, the person has put into, it's become a master, he's mastered, it's become part of him. So it becomes effortless. Like when a golfer swings the club, the golf ball flies close to, how far is the longest shot a golf ball can go? How many meters? Any idea? Adarsh? I'm sure more than a couple of 100 meters. 200 meters. Have you ever attempted a golf club swinging they don't allow you into the golf range, golf course. You have to go to the golf range. In fact, a couple of students of mine, they wanted to coax me to play golf. So I said, sir, because they knew I play cricket. So I said, sir, it's not different, it's the same. I said, is that so? And they said, sir, we will fund it. We will take care of the kit. In fact, we already have a brand new golf kit. It is yours. We will take you to the golf range and start practicing. I said, why not? Only the club was swinging, the ball was there only. 360 degrees, I was swinging along with the club, but the ball hardly, if at all, it went a few feet there. It's not easy. It's an art. It's completely an art. So as long as it is where there's an effort involved, it is not a part of you. Now, if you are putting in effort to live these higher values, it is not a part of you. When you live it unconsciously, you live it unknowingly. In fact, others start recognizing a change in you. That means it is yours. You have made it your own. So there is a difference between knowing and living. There is a gap, in fact, a gap from knowing and living, and the gap is filled in through manana, and that's what a large head symbolizes. Now, coming to the trunk, it's one of the most versatile tool an elephant has got. The trunk is so powerful it can uproot a tree. The trunk is got such a subtle tool. I think it's got the maximum number of muscles at the very tip of the tongue. It can pick up a needle effortlessly from the ground. You put a straw, it can pick up a straw, it can uproot a tree. Now, a trunk symbolizes the buddhi, the intellect of a human being. So the trunk can perform the most grossest of acts or the most subtlest of acts. So the intellect is also of twofold kind. Intellect is gross and subtle. Every human being is blessed with it. Gross and subtle. Now, what does intellect do? The intellect job, it has various roles, but in the context, intellect is that which discriminates, which distinguishes, which demarcates. It makes a choice, this from that. So the intellect is a function. Intellect is only one. But based on the field of operation, it can be called gross or subtle. Sir, you're following, sir? Very clear, huh? No, since I didn't get a question so far, I was concerned a little bit. That's why I'm clarifying. Are you following? Now, I'm comfortable. I'm explaining what that gross and subtle means. Correct, sir? What else is there? G-R-O-S-E, gross. Others, correct, huh? So, gross. Grass. Grouse. So, which one you felt, sir? Correct, in context of it. Banking. So gross and subtle. Now, as I've said, equipment is one, intellect is one, but it becomes gross based on the field of operation. It becomes subtle where you operate it. And the function of the intellect is to discriminate. Now, when the intellect is discriminating within the terrestrial realm, within the periphery of the terrestrial world, the operation is called gross. It's gross intellect. I'm able to differentiate between a friend and a foe. I'm able to differentiate between black and white. You are able to differentiate profit and loss, rich and poor, electron and neutron. Any discrimination you can make from the most basic to the most subtle, as long as is within the realm of the terrestrial world, it is termed gross. The most subtle distinction a scientist makes, or a doctor goes under the microscope and makes a distinct difference between the two molecules or whatever. What operation is it? Gross intellect. You can be a brilliant businessman. You will have accounts in your fingertips. A brilliant accountant or a brilliant architect, brilliant mathematician. Gross intellect, sir. But when the intellect is differentiating between the only one pair, the only pair is on one side is the terrestrial world, or other side is the transcendental reality. So when you ask this simple question, is this God? Is this God? You're putting the world on one side and God on the other side. Does this take me to God? Does this remind me of God? So when you are differentiating world and God, that is the realm of subtle intellect. When you go to the market, you pick up their stale brinjals, fresh brinjals. How do you pick up the best brinjal? What intellect are you using, ma? Subtle intellect, gross intellect. You don't need subtle intellect for buying brinjals. Huh? I was wondering, where is brinjal? What do you break there? Sometimes even the gross intellect needs to be sharpened. I understand. It is not to be used in that sense. As I've said, used in the field of operation. So when you use the intellect in the worldly transaction, it is grosser. When you use the same intellect to understand God, as Adi Shankaracharya says, what is the intellect? Nitya Anitya Viveka Vicharam. The distinction between the eternal and ephemeral. Nitya, the constant distinction. The constant distinction between the eternal and ephemeral. That is subtle intellect. The context is Hanuman. Hanuman is a classic example. His mind got stuck to Rama, and thereafter only thing he did is he thought of Rama and Rama alone. Thereafter nothing interested him. That capacity to have the attention and thought on the self is the strength of your subtle intellect. Now, the fact that you're here, you have a subtle intellect. Whether is it sharp or blunt, that's the difference. You may have a sharp gross intellect, but you may not have a subtle intellect at all. Very, very dull. But a person may have a sharp subtle intellect. He may not be as sharp in the worldly transactions. As I say, street smart. He may not be street smart, but he has a sharp subtle intellect. It's a matter of application. If he wants, he can develop a sharp gross intellect as well. Are you all following what I'm saying? So the trunk symbolizes an intellect which is of gross and subtle. And then you notice that Ganesha has one broken tusk. What does it mean? A pair of tusk symbolizes the world, which is nothing but everything in the world is a pair. Nothing comes on you alone. Everything in the world is a pair, sir. Profit and loss. I'm explaining that. The pair is two tusks, but the Ganesha has got one broken tusk. So it's not a pair. So what that symbolizes, everything in the world is a pair. Profit, loss, birth, death, joy, sorrow, heat, cold, good, bad, white, black. You can only understand when I say he was very short. Oh, means not tall. He was very brilliant, not dull. It was quite bright. It was not dull. It was very smart, not dull. You can only understand the one only with the opposite. Isn't it, sir? Oh, he passed the exam with flying colors, means he did not fail. You only understand one with the other. Without the other, you don't understand anything. Everything in the world is only a pair. Good, bad, right, wrong, left, right, health, ill health, birth, death. Everything in life is like that. So when Ganesha had that pair of tusks, it means he is also confined to the world. Dvandva, the pairs of opposites. So when that pair broke, so one tusk breaking is, the pair is gone. He is beyond the pair. Dvandva atita, he has gone beyond the world. He has transcended the world. He has transcended the external and the internal changes which we are all victimized by. There is little sorrow in you. Does that affect you or not, sir? It does, isn't it? A little more joy comes into your life. Does it affect you? A little loss you have gone through. Your business is going through a little dull patch. You have lost. Past 3 months is a loss. That affects you? Your company comes and tells you that the company is going through, accounts department says it's bumper profit, 60% profit this year. A little extra profit, does it affect you? So here is a person who is not victimized by whether the internal or the external changes that happen. He's gone beyond the pair. That's what it symbolizes. The tusk, broken tusk means Dvandva atita. A large belly Ganesha has got. What does it mean? What does a large belly mean? Sudhakar Garu. Any idea? He had the capacity to consume everything, and not just consume, he was able to digest everything. Means he was able to go through all the experiences of life, and yet he had an unaffected grace. It did not affect him on his, it did not show him on his face, isn't it? Always a pleasant smile he had. Means all that happens in life, he was able to digest it, receive it, and yet remain unaffected by it. When you go for a medical checkup, little blood pressure is high. Finished. Ayyo, appa, that whole day mood off. Blood pressure little high. If blood sugar has come in, then a miserable life thereafter. How not to be affected, whether blood pressure or blood sugar. Not to go for checkup is not a solution. But the capacity not to be affected by it. Now, as you know, there is a story. Kubera had a party. Who's Kubera? In the modern context, Ambani throwing a party in Antilla. Because if he throws a party, everybody, whole media is there. Whole India is interested who has come, what is seen going on. So, Ambani during his time was maybe the Reserve Bank chairman throwing a party. Ambani also will go. So, Kubera threw a party and there was a wide spread of food. Ganesha, as he is known to have a taste for food, he started eating the food which was prepared for all the guests. And everything he ate, he started eating the decorative items also. The banana leaves, the flowers and the fruits, everywhere he started eating. Yet he was not satisfied. Hearing all this, his father came, Lord Shiva came, and he offered him a handful of roasted grains. You know the story, isn't it? And the moment he had that handful of roasted grains, apparently he was very satisfied. What sort of a story is this? You eat the entire food prepared for the whole party and you're not satisfied. You're eating even the decorative things, and yet one handful of roasted grains, satisfied. What does it mean? Any material pursuit, you will never find yourself that sense of satisfaction. How much ever you can acquire, what I can guarantee is you will never be satisfied. Sir, how much is enough, sir, for you? How much you think is enough to satisfy you? Enna, sir? Cheppandi? 3 meal, saripotunda? If it is not according to your taste, will you still have or you complain? Complain. So you're not satisfied. The question is, when is that enough enough? Enough is never enough. Never enough. That is what it means. He went on eating and eating. It was never satisfying. So what is those? The roasted rice, in fact, it was. What it means, once you have, so the roasted rice symbolizes your vasanas and desires. Once you roast the grain, it loses its capacity to germinate. It doesn't grow anymore. So when you have consumed your desires, that is the moment you will find satisfaction or happiness. Till then you will never be satisfied. See, one extremity is you can have everything yet not be satisfied. What is the other extremity? Sir, one extremity is you can have all that the world can provide you, you're not satisfied with it.